I want to continue from the previous one I shared that was about the no self and how the no self relate to the beyond self, and also talked about doing work without thinking of the reward. So this one is more focused on mukuyo, which is don't think about the reward. It's also about 1 page long, and maybe this is easier than the previous one because the other one had the whole picture, but this is focused on no reward, acting without thinking of reward. So this is, he says, it's like an Indian way to think about no reward. In Christianity, it says, whatever you do on your left hand or the right hand, don't teach or explain to the right hand or left hand. Or it may say, the work we've done today is good for today, so don't carry it or think for the future, the tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Just be. So expression is different, but the intention is the same. But because of the difference in expression, there are some characteristics of each tribe, the people, being different. In Zen, we talk about no reward, not thinking of reward, and act upon it. It's also be rephrased as acting without acting. Musa no sa, mu is no, sa is act, and musa no sa, acting without thinking about acting, no acting. Or it could be rephrased as knowledge without knowledge, muchi no chi, mu no chi, knowledge, the knowledge without knowledge. So it's paradoxical expression, but leave it alone. That's the best thing to do, and that's part of the message. Anyway, work without thinking of working for benefit is a key philosophy for the Indian way of thinking about life and how we act. So, as in Bhagavad Gita, this is the Bible of the Indian people, its principle is relating to this idea of acting without acting, not thinking of acting to act. So, not thinking of act to act is for each individual. It's their free will. This is a tricky word. So it's the free will and creative sense that they have, and without being bundled and confined, it acts as if thy will be done. Act as if beyond self, the will of the beyond self. So I said it, thy will, the will of the universe. So, just adding a few comments here. I have discussion with the free will, but here is the saying exactly what I mentioned, which is our free will as individual is to connect to the will of the universe. which connect to act without thinking of acting. So it's a natural flow. Natural. Without mind getting into the way. So let's leave that as one important point and move on. He says that the will of the universe, thy will, I translate into thy will, the God's will, let's call it the same, beyond self. So what's beyond self? Something big, and that works in the universe. So I call it the will of the universe or the nature's way, but can be replaced as God's will. So that the will of the universe or will beyond self cannot be expressed or acted upon by itself. And if so, then it's like a dream. And it's like no thinking, no doing. Ue is mui. No, mui in Japanese, I is acting. Is mui, musaku. Mu is no, saku is acting. So it's kind of redundant, but if you don't think, it just happens. So there's no intention, there's no, it's just natural. That's what it means. But then, if that act of no thinking, no doing, but happening as nature's way, when that is reflected on individual's consciousness, so here comes the be conscious of unconscious, then depending upon how it comes out, its strength or the density, whatever it moves the individual is the act of the universe. So there is planning in the mind to act and actually acting. May happen if those two are found as aligned. So when it happens, each of us realize that it is as if the free will on our own. So that's the tricky thing. If you think like that, without connecting to the root or the heart, or the following the law of the universe naturally, and if we think we have it, then that's not quite right. But if you realize that it comes naturally, then where it comes from is beyond the self, beyond your mind. So realizing that the act that happens in that way is then called musa no sa, no acting but acting. So you're not doing, but something is doing in your action. So no mind, but no acting, but there's acting. Something like that. There's lots of paradoxical feeling in there. So anyway, the act comes in each individual, but that act is based upon yourself beyond yourself. And you feel that's the way. You feel right because it's aligned to your heart. And that act is the act of the universe, so to speak, and in human terms, no act, because you're not acting, but the universe is acting. That is no acting, no action of no action. No human action, but universe action. It sounds very convoluted, isn't it? But basically talking about the mind and heart connection, or the brain and the heart, and what's in our heart representing the law of universe manifest on its own, that's different than your thinking and doing without connecting to your heart. That's what I've been saying in many videos. So when you do that act of no acting, your action, but you're not acting as individual, but representing the law of the universe beyond yourself, then it's called in this case, this is the Zen saying, and we don't have to get it as they try to point out, but symbolizing that action is called tiger or lion, just act on its own. Like amazing act can happen. The universe manifests without your mind confinement, but coming from inside of you, deep inside. When the mind is going empty, you realize that when the acting is happening without the mind, then something else is manifesting. So that relating to acting without thinking about the reward or the benefit, it just happens. So just a few words. The tricky thing is this sounds like a hippie-like idea. You can do anything and everything is okay. That's not quite right, because you're thinking like that. So you have to go beyond thinking, connecting to your heart. So even if you understand conceptually what I'm talking about, that's totally not the point. So show me how you act is perhaps the way of Zen to tell you if you're meeting your worship talking about this, and they say, come back or show me how you act. And you can only act in a certain way. So that's the story I thought I'll add. Thank you.